Marvel's Avengers has launched. I have gone through and I have beaten the campaign. I have enjoyed a lot of things about it, and there are some things that we don't really absolutely love at this point. Today on Top Shelf Tuesday, we are going to go ahead and rank all of the Marvel's Avengers characters. We're going to be ranking them from our least favorite within the game to our absolute favorites and the reasons why we feel that way as of right now. That episode starts right now. It is a great day on the internet, everybody. Welcome to Assemble. Welcome to Top Shelf Tuesday. I'm Matt. How are you? I'm doing well. We had a long weekend here in Canada. It's been so good. Have a little bit of time off. Very little time off. But nonetheless, it's been nice to be at home a little bit. And more importantly, it's nice to be at home and been playing Marvel's Avengers. I'm sure you've been like me. I have gone through. I have grinded that game a ton. I have played way too much of it. I have sucked too many hours into it already, and it's not even been a week of me actually playing this game. But man, oh man, am I enjoying it. Now, there are some things that I am not too keen on, guys, and there are some things that I really enjoy about the game. Today, for a special Top Shelf Tuesday, we are continuing our theme all September long of everything MCU, everything Marvel, and really getting down into the Marvel's Avengers game because it is such a big game for this entire month going into the fall. And what we would like to do today is we would like to go in and rank the Marvel's Avengers characters from our least favorite in terms of their overall play, their play style, how they feel within the game as of right now. I'm sure it's going to change and they're going to tweak everything as we go along. But as of right now, after beating that campaign and playing the multiplayer, I want to go through and give you my thoughts and insights as to how I feel each of these characters play from my least favorite all the way to number one. So let's start ranking these boys and girls right now. So coming in at number 6 to kick things off is actually going to be Hulk. The Incredible Hulk does a lot of really good things within this game. I do like that Hulk smashes. I like that we have Hulk as a big brute. He's got some good jumping. He's got a lot of just big brawl aspects to him that are actually really good. But I do find that Hulk is actually pretty clunky to play. In terms of his overall fighting style, yes, it's great that he is a brawler, but I do find it a little bit hard to actually play with Hulk, and I feel like I am just smashing everything in between, and I'm not really pulling off any really good combos. I don't find that a lot of what Hulk is being upgraded to really matters. I feel like when I'm playing Hulk, and he's the least played character that I have within my team, my Avengers team, Hulk doesn't do it for me for a long-term play, and maybe that will change, but right now I feel like I'm just not really grabbing into Hulk as a playable character. His story arc within the actual main story missions, I think they did a really good job of making Bruce Banner kind of like the main character alongside Kamala. But when I felt like I was playing the Hulk, I just felt like it was a lot of smashing walls and just creating debris and chaos and hitting like my big jump and then big power slam to the ground to knock out bad guys. I wish that they were doing a little bit more. Like, I like that Hulk has the wall jumping ability. He can climb the walls and scale them and run across. Some of the stuff is really cool, but I don't feel like Hulk really grabbed me as a character to be able to play in this game that I see myself really coming back to in the long term. Up next on our whole list is going to be Kamala. Kamala is an amazing character within the story of Marvel's Avengers. I thought that Crystal Dynamics did a great job of putting Kamala together front and center as a character that we are not familiar with in terms of the wide general audience of Marvel. And for a lot of us, it's our first introduction into Kamala as a character. So we don't have that affinity and lore and love for Kamala and appreciation like we do with the other MCU characters. But it was great to see that they took someone in a character that was designed to be a fan of the Avengers within the context of the world. They gave her powers, they made her a little cheesy, but they gave her really good dialogue and a lot of substance and a lot of care and character. In terms of how she plays within the game, Kamala could be number 3 and could be number 4 for me. I don't have a lot of affinity for Kamala, so I don't really feel like I have this giant desire to be able to play her. I rank her a little bit lower on this because for one reason, I don't find that the costume selection is that wide range. They're all very much variations of the exact same thing with Kamala. Now, Bruce Banner, same thing. I'm getting some torn up material. I get some different shorts and they do different color. You could make an argument that even for Iron Man, you're like, well, it's just the Mark suits that are just going to be changed up here and there with a different color tone, but they do have some variations in terms of the design. Kamala, I don't feel like I get a lot of that when it comes to actually her skins that they use within the game. Her playstyle as more of a just balanced character is good. They do give her kind of like that slingshot grab with her extension of the arm so that she can grab and to swing across different things and climb up a little bit easier. She's a very balanced character, which I do appreciate, but I don't feel that I'm going back to her a ton to be able to build out my Avengers team. Kamala's a little bit lower on the list. I do really like that she has the superpower for her to be able to grow really high, taking out a bunch of bad guys. That's a really nice touch because it changes up the gameplay style, I find, for me. But I don't find that within the multiplayer that I'm going back to play as Kamala very much, at least right now. I'm still trying to learn all the power-ups and my actual skill tree to see what works and what combos, and I probably will end up changing up my list as we go. Right now, Kamala is ranked a little bit lower in terms of her ability within the game and to be able to play as her. In the campaign specifically, I love Kamala, and again, I love how they did the story arc with her, but I find that if I'm talking specifically multiplayer and me coming back to play as that character to grind and get her to like level 50, I don't see myself doing that right now because I don't feel like there's a lot in there. By the way, everybody, if you can, do me a favor and like and share and subscribe to the show. We're trying to go in September and get this channel all the way to 200 subs. This is our September 200 sub goal. So please do me a favor that if you enjoy this content from Top Shelf Tuesday, our unboxings of our action figures and statues on Wednesday, and our community Q&A show on Fridays, and maybe you guys find that this content works for you. So do me a favor, get engaged with the content in the community online in the comments below, and let me know what you guys think of Marvel's Avengers, as well as all the other stuff that's going around with the MCU. Coming in at number 4, everybody, is going to be Thor. Now, the reason why I have Thor ranked where I do for in this list is that I'm finding that I'm enjoying Thor more and more and more. It's a toss-up with these rankings, guys, of how I'm going to place them, because I feel like I could just change on a dime. Thor, I'm really enjoying more and more as I'm getting his skill sets built up. His skill tree is starting to unlock a lot more. I enjoy that he's got a lot of dynamic play when it comes to Thor's hammer, as well as just being able to use like his lightning and all of his specialty moves. I feel like I can just really kill off a lot of guys when it comes to Thor. I feel powerful. I get the use of his flight. His flight I'm not too keen on when it comes to just him being able to maneuver. It's not quite the same as Iron Man. I wish I had a little bit more, but I do love being able to wield his hammer around. Thor is one that I can see myself just growing into long term, and that I'm really enjoying him so far, but I find that I'm going to be using him even more down the road. When it comes to Thor in the story, I was actually kind of bummed out that they didn't use him more. I feel like if you guys play through the campaign, and if you haven't finished it already, don't worry about it here. But I will say that I wish that he was utilized a lot more than what we were exposed to in the campaign. And maybe when we get more content down the road and it's more character driven, maybe we're going to see more stuff that's just geared towards Thor. I wish that they did use him a little bit more. But with the story that they were trying to tell, I feel like they did enough with Thor. But when it came to that, I didn't have the same investment that I did when it comes to other characters within it, like Kamala or even Iron Man. So Thor, I am ranking here on this list because I feel like I'm going to be able to use Thor long term and use him as one of my main guys and main characters. But we'll see how this list changes as we go. Number 3 on our list as of today and how we're doing this, it's actually going to be Black Widow. Black Widow, I find really surprised me within Marvel's Avengers. Again, her story arc within the campaign, great. I like that Kamala is the central focus as the primary character for what they're trying to accomplish without getting into spoilers or anything. I like that they use Kamala in this regard. I like how Black Widow is that supporting cast member. And I was surprised at how well she plays. She's dynamic, she's agile, she's got a ton of variations within her moves and her skill sets. I love the dueling pistols. I love being able to fire those off and then turn into combos. I get a lot of variety, I feel, when it comes to Black Widow, because I am able to use a lot of her skills and her martial arts, incorporating that with a little bit of tech, because I can use her grappling hook to pull in enemies, to be able to swing, as well as using the pistols. There's a lot of range there. And more specifically, I like how balanced she is in terms of her gameplay and the way they have designed her overall. As I'm playing on the PS4, I feel like I have a lot of control over Black Widow, and not as much when it came to like Hulk, and Kamala again is very a balanced character in terms of their gameplay. I felt that Black Widow was done very dynamically, and I felt like I had a lot of choices when it came to how am I going to interact with this mission or play through and beat these 5 guys in multiplayer online. I felt like I could continuously switch it up, and again, very agile, and I can really see that they would use this template of Black Widow in terms of her agility, martial arts, grappling, swinging, and using that similar for Spider-Man when Spider-Man eventually launches for PS4 in Marvel's Avengers. I think that they can do a lot with this, and I feel like Black Widow, again, very, very dynamic, really enjoyed her, enjoying the skins, enjoying the build-up and the skill points and her skill tree. I've seen myself going into play as Black Widow more and more, and I didn't expect that. I expected Black Widow to be probably my 4 or 5 ranking, but right now I see her as actually my number 3. Now my number 2 on this ranking for Marvel's Avengers is going to be, and this was hard between 2 and number 1, and when I say number 2, you know who number 1 is. My number 2 is going to be Iron Man. Tony Stark is number 2 on the list today. It's very, very hard. I flip between Tony and Captain America daily, hourly when I'm playing this game. I've ranked up Iron Man a lot. I really, really love how they utilized Iron Man in the story. I loved his story arc and the mission specifically as when Iron Man is introduced into the story. I thought they were done so well, and I love the dialogue between Troy Baker and Nolan North. I really like how Nolan North is just Nolan North as Tony Stark, and I feel like I'm playing as Nathan Drake in this because there's a similar character in terms of personality traits there. I feel I really like how they created this dynamic contrast between how Tony is with his relationship with Bruce, how he feels about the Avengers with the situations that's surrounding Captain America, and I really love how they introduced Iron Man in the story. Now, when it comes to multiplayer, so far there are some qualms that I have with it. This would knock it down for some people because I find the flying is a little too spongy. I feel like I'm knocking into certain things, but I am starting to find my footing with it. Being able to actually change into my full flight mode, fly around, stop, aim, and now that I have my rockets, my lasers, everything, the unibeams unlocked, like I'm able to change up all of my dynamic shooting as well as the combat and melee. There is a ton there, and then on top of it I get all of these amazing skins to use, and you can tell I enjoy being able to deck out my team. I want to be able to see what they physically look like and being able to change Iron Man into a different version, different Mark suit. So there's a ton of variety, and I feel like I can really build up Iron Man. I enjoy Tony Stark, and be able to have the component of flight. Yes, it may be clunky, and yes, it may not be able to kind of work the way we want it to work overall. There's still a ton there that I get to do, and that's what really brings me back day over day to play as Iron Man. Now, obviously, everybody, that brings us to number 1 on our list, and that is going to be Captain America. I was actually surprised that Captain America would be ranking so high. We see what happens throughout the whole campaign, and if you haven't finished already, make sure you go and do that because you'll know what I mean with this. But I really love Captain America in this game, and Cap for me has always been very one-dimensional when it comes to the comics, and he's never been a character that I've really loved. And I feel like with Marvel's Avengers and the MCU and Marvel's Avengers the game, I've really felt like I've been able to grasp onto Captain America. I really love how they set him up in the campaign. I really, really love how he is used in his combat in multiplayer. I love all of the costumes and the suits and the skins. I have been power ranking the crap out of Captain America. I like that he has a very, very balanced combat style. I love using Cap's shield. I can lock on to enemies, throw my shield, I can kick it back. Like, there's a lot that I can actually do when it comes to Cap, and I'm surprised how much I enjoy it. He's very agile, there's a ton of abilities, there's a ton to be able to grind, and I'm coming back more and more and more to play as Cap. Kind of surprised by that, being that Captain America was never one that I pegged as going to be my go-to within this game, but I'm just loving how his combat style is and how much I can build off of him and all of his different specialties and melees and his skill trees. I find that I'm going back to him more and more, but let me know what you guys think in the comments below. How have you been actually sizing up your team? How have you built it out, and how different is it than mine? This is just how I've kind of been playing it for the first week, and I'm sure this list will kind of switch up as we go. Not married to it, feel like there's a ton of growth within each character, and excited when they actually bring out more characters within this whole game, because I'm curious to see how they all play, from Black Panther, Spider-Man, Doctor Strange. Are they going to be vastly different from each other, or are they going to kind of get siloed into these sort of buckets of gameplay styles? Can we bring in new characters that are going to play like Hulk? Or are they going to play, is Spider-Man going to play as Black Widow? I don't know. We're going to have to wait and see. Folks, thank you so much for joining me on this week's episode of Top Shelf Tuesday. I'm Matt. I'm really enjoying Marvel's Avengers. I hope you guys are too. If you haven't beaten the campaign, get in there and get it done. I felt like I was going through the multiplayer and the campaign kind of side by side. I found for me that if I got the multiplayer and I put that on hold and I got this campaign done, I got a lot out of it. You unlock a lot of stuff. It really sets you up for being able to go hard into the multiplayer. I've already gone through and added credits and unlocked a bunch of the battle pass. I'm surprised at how much I am enjoying this game overall. For games as a service, it's really scratching that itch for me that I haven't had with other games. I have played, Call of Duty a ton and playing Warzone and going through that FPS version and upgrading my character and upgrading my weapons and all of that. I feel like I hit a certain point that I get bored and I'm not interested anymore. And I'm finding that with Marvel's Avengers, at least right now, I'm in. I'm enjoying how each character plays, how they're all different. And even though I've got someone like Hulk a little bit, lower on the rankings right now, that can change in a dime if they tweak some of the gameplay, or maybe I just find certain things that really work for me with that character. So I hope you're enjoying the game too. We're going to continue our whole theme of Marvel's Avengers and MCU related content all September long. Do me a favor though, hit the notification bell so you can get updates on all the weekly content we do, because we have 3 episodes coming at you every single week. And I want you guys to be able to engage with us. The Assemble community is the best community on the internet. Thank you so much for watching. And as always, thank you for assembling with us. See ya.